So the book is out, huh?
Yeah, finally.
Yes, finally.
We do want to thank everyone for their patience, but it's been a little while in getting this done. We have the first volume. The first volume is called Echoes of the Forgotten World. It's volume 1 in history, ancient history series. And the whole series, this is just volume 1, that's now available, downloadable form, PDF. The whole series is called Recovering History's Profile. And that's with ancient history. Why are we recovering history's profile? Because, to be frank, there's been a lot of misrepresentation of historical events. Mm-hmm. Historians come with presuppositions. Means, that's a fancy word that means you come with certain assumptions. And those assumptions can be subtle. They can be very overt. One of which is there are no miracles in history. There is no supernatural, ergo there is no God. Now they don't usually go that far because it'll offend too many people. They get away with saying the rest. I'm here to tell you that and I document this in the Echoes of the Forgotten World, we're talking about the world that then was, the antediluvian world. That's the word, not anti, ante meaning before the deluge, before the great flood, Noah's flood. There is a tremendous amount of evidence worldwide for Noah's flood. The geology, in civilizations, there's the memory of it. I'll explain what that means. I certainly do in the book. Obviously, the biblical record. But the antediluvian world is the world that perished, so how can we have a history of that world? The Bible gives us an outline of it. But this is the echoes of the forgotten world, meaning there are things that we find in the world after the flood that point back to that forgotten world. And so the first volume is all about really Genesis 1 through 10. Now, what is it that we're going to cover in the book? Well, first of all, we address what is called the mystery of the pyramids and the Sphinx. The pyramid, that's one area. The mystery of the stars, the constellations. You do know that the zodiac that's come forward today, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, that's a late invention of the Greeks. They did it specifically to overwhelm the historical zodiacs that are represented around the world. The most ancient zodiacs speak of star systems that were given meanings, and I'll just put it bluntly, before the flood. Now, how would I know that Aratus, 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 a Greek historian and poet, who wrote it in the 3rd century BC, he wrote the poem concerning the zodiac. How do we know that what he's writing about is from the antediluvian world? Computerization analysis show us, they can tell us where the star systems were vis-a-vis the Earth. He's describing a world and the positioning of those stars and constellations that were not in his day. They were in position 3,000 years beforehand. So where did he get the knowledge of that? Let me give you another one. How many of you have heard of the Piri-Reis map? I know you have. The Piri-Reis map, Portuguese navigator, 1513. Piri-Reis described on his map, he said it was not his, it had been archived, where we don't know. It was subjected, however, to testing. The United States Air Force, in fact, was asked to comment on the map, which is an exact and detailed outline of Queen Maud Land, Antarctica, except that there's no glaciers on it. It shows Antarctica, the cartography of the continent, with no glaciers. The United States Air Force, they were asked to investigate, and the colonel that wrote back said, We have no idea how Piri Reis could have come up with a map like that, or who would have known of it. And he says, especially since Piri Reis didn't know what Antarctica was. No European did. Europe didn't discover Antarctica until the 1800s. So how does Antarctica get mapped? And there are several maps like this. No glaciation on it. You know, right now there's a mile of snow, a mile of ice on it. How did it get mapped out? Who did it? Also on the map, there's a large island between Africa and North America. It's not there anymore, obviously. I'm not talking about an island like St. Helena. I'm talking about a huge continent. Where did all this go? How do we know about the ancient world? The antediluvian world is a history, the echoes of which are found in the world in which we live, that show us things that happened back when. And interestingly enough, the Bible gives us an outline of that history. The history from Adam and Eve, creation, Adam and Eve, right on down to the Noahic flood. So we cover the flood. We show that the damage done by the flood, when the flood actually started, it wasn't just rain. The earthquakes, the tsunamis, the massive fracture, the mid-Atlantic ridge, mountains rising, which is how seashells get at the top of mountains. All that occurred once Noah and the animals were put in the ark, and it says God closed them in. And the Hebrew word is, he was protective. The violence of the flood took out the entire civilization in about 5 minutes. It was done. Now, all of this and a lot more is found. There's so much more. Dinosaurs, for example. What do we do with them? Believe it or not, they're indicators or markers of civilization. We cover key individuals, certain key events, certain key people. The Bible records those. Obviously, the flood, like we just spoke of. The antediluvian world is a powerful testimony that we can know something about now, but modern historiography doesn't like it. What about ruins? It's one of the first things I said when we started this. Ruins at the bottom of the ocean. I give you a whole section on the ruins that we know of. There's even more than that. But enough to show that cities, pyramids, city streets, palaces, writings that we can't read, glyphs that we can't understand, have been found at the bottom of the oceans, including the Atlantic and oceans around the world. So that gives you just a taste of what's in the first volume, Echoes of a Forgotten World.